What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 66 of my reviewing and ranking Frank Zappa's guitar solos within the context of an album. And today's album is Halloween, a DVD-A album. I believe that is what it was called. DVD audio, I guess the A stands for audio, of a collection of material songs from the 1978 Halloween run. Yeah, weird little release, came out in 2003. Fantastic guitar solos, as we will get to shortly. Frustrating release in that the disc case is bigger than every other disc case, and it doesn't fit comfortably into any sort of disc rack. But there's some interesting stuff on here. There's also some videos on it. There's sort of a video aspect to it. But 5 guitar solos. This is from 1978 with Caliuta, Barrow, O'Hearn's on bass. You got 2 bass players. Some pretty fantastic stuff. So I'm going to review these 5 solos from my least favorite to my favorite. I'll splash the list up on the page when I'm done on the screen, and then I'll show you where this album ranks among all the others based on guitar solos only. It's early in the morning. My voice is not yet talking. Anyways, number 5, Muffin Man. It's your typical Muffin Man. It does what a Muffin Man's supposed to do, which is like, you know, get up the energy and get everybody super excited for an end of the show type thing. It does its job. I don't think it's quite as good as maybe some of the ones from Halloween 77 or from that previous tour, but it's a great Muffin Man. The rhythm section is fantastic. And I think the most interesting thing about this Muffin Man is the riff is... Frank's not playing the riff on guitar. Ike might be playing it, but he's pretty low in the mix. But the keyboardists are driving the riff, and it almost gives it this almost like proggy Supertramp vibe. Just the dun 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 dun, but it's not this down. It's a lot like softer and this bassy sort of keyboard sound. It's actually really cool. It gives it this not necessarily orchestral, but this bigger, proggier sound with just that vamp going on, that riff going on in the back. But yeah, I think that's probably the most interesting thing about this Muffin Man, other than just the typically awesome show-ending solo. Number 4 is Easy Meat. It's an Easy Meat solo. Frank is making this guitar scream. We're in the death vamp era of Easy Meat, but I think Pat Busby invented that term, or he was using that term for several of the vamps from 78 and 79. Shout out to you, Mr. Busby. It's great. I mean, it's your Easy Meat, full-on attack. Vinny is fantastic. Frank is making the guitar scream. It goes on pretty long. Like, Frank is into this. Frank is giving it a lot of effort. Spectacular Easy Meat. But like the Muffin Man solo, it's in the same waters that an Easy Meat is always in this era. It's not really poking its tendrils out anywhere else. But it's still fantastic. Like, no complaints about either one of these. It's just, you know, there's 3 others. So Easy Meat, number 4. Number 3 is Stinkfoot. Really nice Stinkfoot. Stinkfoot was not a common song on this tour. I think it was a Halloween treat that they dropped to Stinkfoot. It's got a slow, patient start before Frank's leaning into that kind of swing vamp in the beginning and kind of just really going with that before he kind of takes off and does his Frank thing. Vinny is just as sick as Vinny always is, just absolutely ridiculous. Frank's tone gets really low at times, and he's really up on those low notes for a while. There's this awesome little section where Frank seems to be playing like this circular riff as if he and Vinny are almost chasing each other. Very much feels like just a conversation with Vinny, and the bass players are in the back just like keeping it real and keeping it down and keeping things somewhat like normal as Vinny and Frank just completely go at it. Stinkfoot solos are always good, man. I just think there's something about the vamp. There's something about Frank's attitude towards the song. And again, this Stinkfoot delivers for something that wasn't a common treat in fall of 78. Really good. Number 2, Ancient Armaments, the opening guitar solo of the Halloween show. Just this awesome, really sort of deep, spacey bass, just laying down this solid foundation vamp over which Frank does some of his more kind of obtuse type guitar playing and phrasing, similar to like the opening solo on Chicago 78, just one of those where the ideas are so weird and Vinny is supporting him in such a weird way and you're not really sure where the one is for a lot of it, but behind the background there's just this like deep bass presence that's setting it up. Frank plays the solo and seems like he wraps it up, and then he kind of goes again and adds like this different vibe to it that's pretty spectacular. Kind of after like 3.5 minutes of exploration, he kind of takes it to the next level and starts playing some chords before going off. Really cool. Yeah, I mean, it is one of those uniquely epic Frank solos. It was the B-side to the don't want to get drafted single, which I have somewhere floating around here, which was pretty cool. I think it was the first time I heard that, the Ancient Ornaments. My first tease of what like the vault had to like offer. And the sound on this is fantastic. And this release has stuff from the Halloween 31st show, has stuff from the 27th show, has stuff from the 28th show. Like Halloween 78, there's got to be a box set in the works, right? I mean, this stuff is fantastic. But number one, clearly number one, just an epic performance. A Black Napkins into the Deathless Horsey. 17 minutes of Zappa. El Shankar is in here. It's almost technically 2 solos because Frank does a legitimate Black Napkin solo in this, and it is a very take your time, lots of space, exploring. Vinny's all over the place and getting crazy. And then Frank at one point, when it's almost like he's wrapping up the Black Napkin solo, just starts playing the Deathless Horsey vamp, that and he starts playing that, and the band kind of shifts gears. And it doesn't sound like it's a song they worked on at this point. Frank is messing around with that guitar melody that kind of drops in the theme of the song. Before Shankar takes over, he's kind of teasing that, and then Shankar comes in and he solos, but it's not as intense as like there's a Conehead solo on here by Shankar that, if I was ranking solos by other people, would probably be number 2. Shankar's Conehead solo is ridiculous, and Vinny's support of him on that is just insane. But he kind of solos, and then Frank kind of comes back, and they kind of go at it for like the last half of the song, and they're kind of dueling back and forth. And then at that point, Frank plays that guitar melody a little more like forcefully, like he had figured it out the first time. And when he came back the second time, he's got that, whatever that is. I'm trying to sing it, but I can't. That, you know what it is, that sort of main theme that defines Deathless Horsey. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And it just keeps going on and on and on in the best way possible. It doesn't really have this like travel, this journey, this forward momentum. It's just like they're in the ring sparring for a while, and like the band is the ring, and Vinny is kind of a chaotic referee that's forcing them to do stuff they don't want to do, and they're just kind of going at it for a while, and they kind of winds down, and it almost feels like the song's going to end, and they sort of limp back into Black Napkins at the end. But it kind of works because they're all of a sudden we're just like back into Black Napkins, and the band comes in full force, and we end the song in like grand Black Napkins fashion. It is a pretty awesome solo, and the sound is fantastic. Frank is fantastic. Shankar is fantastic. Band is fantastic. Just really, really good stuff. And like anytime Frank is like mixing, dropping like early teases like this, like dropping that Deathless Horsey in here. The 78 tour, that fall 78 tour, had so many awesome little snippets and previews of other songs that would debut later in full form. And this is one of those, and it's brilliant. It's fantastic. Yeah, the playing on here is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, That's what those 5 solos look like in typewritten form. All of them excellent. None of them are slouches. So the question is, where would I rank this among the other 65 that I've already done? And it's all the way at number 11. Just missed out on the top 10. I just think that those Drowning Witch solos on Ship Arriving, that I Come From Nowhere solo, are just a little special. Them or Us has so many fantastic solos. Sinister Footwear too. I just think those ones, as great as the Black Napkins Deathless Horse is, as great as the Ancient Ornaments, as great as Stinkfoot, this might be ranked too low, but I'm going to drop it in at number 11, though. I'm kind of having second doubts even right now as I do it, but that's where I'm going to put it. I'm going to stick it there. Complain all you want, and I will listen to those complaints, because this might be too low. But those top 11 are just fantastic things. But anyways, yeah, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have this, if you've checked it out. I don't know if it's on streaming. It's probably on YouTube. I'm sure it's been uploaded on YouTube, and it's well worth checking out if you haven't checked it out. It's one of those kind of almost obscure lost releases that when it dropped, it was like, yo, this is some pretty cool stuff. Like the ZFT is finally getting the ball rolling on some archival stuff, even more so than they were. But yeah, it's a good release. I would seek it out, especially for the guitar solos. There's some odd choices as far as what songs they included. There's a Vinny drum solo. I mean, come on, we don't need, it's only like 2.5 minutes, but you only got 80 minutes to fill. Don't give me a drum solo. But the Conehead on here, the Shankar solo and the Conehead, and Vinny's almost like, seems like he's trying to undermine him the whole time, but Shankar can't be undermined. It's brilliant. All right, that's all I got. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things, and go find this album and listen to it, people. It is good. Peace. Talk to you later.